Imagine a world draped in shadows, a world where the swastika casts its sinister mark across continents. This is not a world of fiction, but a chilling possibility we narrowly avoided. What if Hitler had won World War II? What if the forces of darkness had triumphed? This is not a question for the faint of heart. It is a descent into a terrifying alternate history. A history where the very foundations of humanity are shaken to their core. But we must confront this potential past. We must understand the depths of despair that could have consumed our world. Only then can we truly appreciate the magnitude of the Allied victory and, honestly, the fragility of our freedom. Join me now as we journey into the heart of this chilling alternate reality, a journey into the abyss. In this grim reality, the Nazi war machine did not crumble. D-Day never dawned. The Allied forces, so often celebrated for their courage and sacrifice, never landed on the beaches of Normandy. Instead, the world watched in horror as the Third Reich solidified its grip on the continent, its armies seemingly unstoppable, its enemies scattered and broken. The Eastern Front held firm. The Soviet resistance, battered and isolated, was eventually overwhelmed. The bitter snows of Russia became the graveyard of hope as German divisions pressed ever eastward, leaving devastation in their wake. Hitler's ambitions, fueled by twisted ideology, spiraled outward, consuming nations and crushing dissent. The machinery of propaganda and terror worked hand in hand, silencing opposition and spreading fear across every border. Europe, from the Atlantic to the Ural Mountains, became a tapestry of fear and subjugation. Cities that once bustled with life now echoed with the footsteps of occupying soldiers and the silence of the oppressed. Puppet states, ruled by Nazi collaborators, enforced the will of Berlin. Local leaders, stripped of autonomy, became mere extensions of the Reich, their people forced to serve foreign masters. The once proud nations of France, Poland, and countless others were reduced to mere provinces of the Reich. Their cultures suppressed, their histories rewritten, their futures stolen. But Hitler's thirst for power knew no bounds. His vision of a 1,000-year empire demanded ever more territory, ever more conquest, and ever more suffering. Africa, with its vast resources, became the next target. The deserts and jungles, once battlegrounds of colonial empires, now fell under the shadow of the swastika, their people subjected to new forms of exploitation. The Middle East, a cauldron of strategic importance, fell under the shadow of the swastika. Oil fields, cities, and ancient cultures were all swept up in the relentless tide of conquest. The Nazi Empire, a monstrous testament to hatred, sprawled across 2 continents. Its borders stretched farther than any had imagined, its influence poisoning every corner it touched. Within this empire, racial purity became the law of the land. Every aspect of daily life was dictated by the regime's obsession with bloodlines and ancestry, dividing neighbor from neighbor. The Nuremberg laws, once a chilling prelude, were now the foundation of a twisted social order. Millions lived in constant fear, their rights erased, their identities targeted, as the world slipped deeper into darkness. In this nightmare, the jackboot of Nazi rule stamped out every spark of individuality. Daily life was a suffocating tapestry of fear, propaganda, and relentless conformity. Children, ripped from their families, were indoctrinated in the perverse ideology of the Hitler Youth. The education system, once a beacon of knowledge, became a tool of brainwashing, churning out generations steeped in hatred and blind obedience. Culture, art, and music were twisted to serve the Nazi agenda. Books were burned, replaced by the ramblings of the Führer. Symphonies were silenced, replaced by the deafening marches of the SS. Any form of dissent, any whisper of opposition was met with swift and brutal repression. Fear became a constant companion. The Gestapo, with their network of informants, cast a long shadow over every aspect of life. The slightest deviation from the Nazi ideal could result in imprisonment, torture, or even death. Across the Atlantic, the United States stood as the last bastion of freedom in a world consumed by darkness. The rivalry between Washington and Berlin, simmering since the 1930s, erupted into a chilling Cold War. Gone were the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific. In their place, a different kind of conflict raged. A war of ideology, espionage, and technological one-upmanship. Both sides poured resources into building ever more powerful weapons, their arsenals bristling with nuclear warheads. Fear and paranoia gripped both sides of the Iron Curtain, a metaphorical barrier dividing Nazi-controlled Europe from the free world. Proxy wars erupted in far-flung corners of the globe, each conflict a potential flashpoint that could ignite a global conflagration. The world held its breath, living under the constant threat of annihilation. The fate of humanity hung precariously in the balance. In their relentless pursuit of global dominance, the Nazis harnessed the power of technology, transforming scientific progress into a weapon of oppression. Their regime was built not only on ideology, but on a chillingly efficient use of innovation, turning laboratories and workshops into engines of war. The world watched as the boundaries between science and savagery blurred, and the promise of human ingenuity was twisted to serve a dark vision. Rocketry, pioneered by Werner von Braun and his team, reached unprecedented heights under the Nazi regime. What began as a quest for technological advancement quickly became a race to develop weapons capable of changing the course of history. The V-2 rocket, a marvel of engineering, was the first long-range guided ballistic missile, a symbol of both human achievement and human cruelty. But instead of reaching for the stars, these rockets rained terror from the skies, striking cities with little warning and leaving devastation in their wake. The technology that could have propelled humanity forward was instead used to inflict fear and destruction, forever altering the lives of countless civilians. Nuclear physics, once a realm of pure scientific exploration, was twisted to serve the Nazi war machine. Brilliant minds who might have unlocked the secrets of the universe for the benefit of all were instead forced to focus on creating weapons of unimaginable power. The pursuit of knowledge became a race to build the ultimate tool of annihilation. The race for the atomic bomb, a terrifying specter in our own timeline, became a horrifying reality in this alternate history. The Nazis' relentless drive to dominate the world led them to unlock the secrets of the atom, unleashing a force that threatened to consume everything in its path. The world trembled as the possibility of nuclear devastation loomed ever closer. But the Nazis' technological achievements came at a heavy price, paid not by the architects of these advancements, but by millions of innocent people. Behind every innovation was a system built on exploitation, suffering, and unimaginable cruelty. Slave labor, fueled by the horrors of the Holocaust, formed the backbone of their industrial might. Men, women, and children were torn from their homes, forced to toil in brutal conditions, their lives sacrificed to feed the insatiable demands of the Nazi war machine. Concentration camps, once centers of extermination, became factories of death in a new sense, churning out weapons, ammunition, and machinery, all at the cost of countless lives. The line between industry and atrocity vanished, as the machinery of war was powered by human suffering. The world watched in horror as the Nazis pushed the boundaries of science and morality, shattering the illusion that progress always leads to a better future. Each new breakthrough came with a terrible cost, and the consequences rippled across continents. Their quest for power left a trail of suffering and devastation in its wake, a grim reminder that when hatred fuels innovation, the results can be catastrophic for all of humanity. Despite their outward appearance of invincibility, the seeds of destruction were sown within the very fabric of the Nazi Empire. The economy, strained by endless war and racial policies, teetered on the brink of collapse. Resistance, though brutally suppressed, flickered like a stubborn ember in the hearts of the oppressed. From the forests of Eastern Europe to the occupied cities of France, brave souls fought back, their acts of defiance small but significant blows against the Nazi behemoth. Within the Nazi hierarchy itself, power struggles erupted. Ambitious lieutenants, their eyes on the Führer's throne, jockeyed for position, their rivalries threatening to tear the Nazi regime apart from within. The Nazi Empire, built on a foundation of hatred, paranoia, and unsustainable ideology, was a house of cards, destined to collapse under its own weight. History, as we know, is a tapestry woven from countless threads. What if a single thread had snapped? What if D-Day had failed, its beaches littered with Allied casualties? What if the Japanese had never attacked Pearl Harbor, keeping the United States out of the war? These are not mere hypotheticals, but chilling possibilities that could have altered the course of history. If the Nazis had secured victory in these pivotal moments, their grip on power would have tightened, their reign of terror extended. The world we know, the world shaped by the Allied victory, would have been unimaginable. Democracy, freedom, and human rights would have been snuffed out, replaced by the suffocating darkness of Nazi tyranny. Our journey into this chilling alternate history has been a sobering reminder of the fragility of freedom. When we peer into the darkness of what might have been, we are confronted by the stark reality that the liberties we enjoy today are neither permanent nor guaranteed. They are precious and they can be lost in the blink of an eye if we are not vigilant. The world we know, the world we cherish, was not preordained. It is the result of countless choices, both great and small, made by individuals who refused to accept tyranny as their fate. Every vibrant street, every open debate, every act of kindness in our diverse communities is a testament to the victories of the past and the hope for the future. It was won through immense sacrifice, unwavering courage, and the indomitable spirit of those who fought for a better tomorrow. The soldiers who stormed beaches, the resistance fighters who risked everything, and the civilians who endured unimaginable hardship, all played a part in shaping the world we now inhabit. The Allied victory in World War II was not just a military triumph, it was a victory for humanity itself. It was a moment when the world united to push back against hatred, oppression, and the machinery of genocide. It was a declaration that compassion and justice would not be silenced by fear. It shattered the Nazi ideology of hatred, extinguished the fires of the Holocaust, and paved the way for a more just and equitable world. The liberation of the camps was not just the end of a nightmare, but the beginning of a promise to remember, to honor, and to never allow such darkness to return. As we emerge from the abyss of this alternate history, let us carry with us the lessons learned. Let us reflect on the cost of indifference and the power of collective action. The past warns us that silence in the face of injustice is itself a form of complicity. Let us remember the sacrifices made. Each grave, each memorial is a silent witness to the price paid for our freedom. Their stories echo through time, urging us to remain steadfast in our defense of human dignity. And let us never, ever take our freedom for granted. The ability to speak our minds, to choose our leaders, to live without fear, these are privileges that millions still yearn for. We must cherish them, nurture them, and pass them on to future generations. For the flame of liberty, though bright, is a fragile thing, and it must be guarded with vigilance and unwavering resolve. Let us be the guardians of that flame, so that the abyss we glimpsed remains only a warning, never our reality.